The Hard Count is presented by BetMGM. As y'all know by now, we've teamed up with BetMGM this college football season. We'll be using their lines to make all our picks, and we'll have special offers for all of you each week. Now, when you join BetMGM, you get access to a variety of parlay selection features like same-game parlays, live betting options, and more. If you haven't signed up yet for BetMGM, use bonus code HARDCOUNT, and you'll get up to $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how that works. 1, download the BetMGM app and sign up using bonus code HARDCOUNT. 2, deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. Step 3, you'll receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use bonus code HARDCOUNT when you sign up. Let's make this college football season 1 for the books. Let's make it legendary. Let's get to the show. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. We are not taking today off. We got a phenomenal conversation for you. This man, co-host of Mac and Murray, college football analyst for ESPN, Zucchini Bread, hates to see this dude coming, especially today. All-time leading passer in the SEC. It's your boy, Aaron Murray. Aaron, big day, man. Like I just said, Zucchini Bread everywhere, trembling. Happy Thanksgiving, man. Appreciate you making some time.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to you as well. And yes, all the training and trying to lose weight during the season, because it's so difficult when I'm on the road as much as I am, all comes to an end today, as I will easily devour probably a loaf of zucchini bread, probably 2 slices of pecan pie, and then everything else that obviously goes with the day that's actually on the more healthier side. That's just the big carb stuff right there. So my favorite holiday, I mean, by far my favorite holiday year, was close to possibly having a game tomorrow, and asked my boss at ESPN that, like, this is my favorite holiday. We hosted at my house. Can you please give me a Saturday game? And they were gracious enough to do that. So I'll fly out tomorrow to cover the SMU at Cal game on Saturday night on ESPN2. So going to be a great day of eating, and then we'll sleep on my plane ride from the East Coast all the way out to the West Coast tomorrow.
Let's go, ESPN. Being family friendly, getting the game right for my guys so we can host Thanksgiving. We talked, I think, in the summer, and you were training for a marathon, I want to say. You've already accomplished 1 marathon. You're on marathon number 2 now. So, like, I think the zucchini bread intake is more than earned at this point. I think you're working in the green in that category. I never eat.
Well, as soon as I land tomorrow, I got to go run 7 miles. So that's Fridays are the big heavy run day. So it's eat, sleep on the plane, wake up. We have coaches meetings with actually SMU at their team hotel. We already met with Cal, do a quick production meeting, and then I got to find a place somewhere in San Fran. Maybe not in San Fran; it's too hilly. I'll be on a treadmill. Don't we want to run those hills there to go run 7 miles right afterwards. So we'll lose a significant amount of it. It will be a slower 7 miles than maybe I'm accustomed to. But yeah, I'm on the grind. We're 14 weeks away from the second marathon. This one will be a little bit more pleasant. We're actually going to Napa. So it'll be get there, run, and then just drink for 2 days afterwards to drink the pain away, which will be awesome.
You're a psycho, dude. You're a psycho. Doing 1 marathon, doing 2 is just unreal. Dude, speaking of psychos, though, I would say arguably one of the most lovable psychos in college football, Lane Kiffin potentially coaching his last game tomorrow for Ole Miss against Mississippi State. Ole Miss is saying, hey, we're going to give Lane this game, and then we're going to get a decision from him on his future at some point, it sounds like, after the Egg Bowl. I think it's like college football's greatest Rubik's Cube right now, Aaron. I don't even know if Lane Kiffin knows what he's going to do after the Egg Bowl. What's your take on all this? Like, take that wherever you want to go, and that's pertains to like Lane Kiffin and his future in Oxford.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone back and forth the entire time. I mean, when the Florida job came open, I think we've talked about this before. Like, Lane is one of my favorite coaches in college football. Like, I absolutely love Lane Kiffin. He's, and I know he's rubbed some people the wrong way in years past. I've talked to people, maybe not in the building at, like, say, in Alabama. And they're like, oh, we would never hire Lane. And Lane was never in consideration a year ago when Nick Saban retired. He just rubbed too many people the wrong way when he was here. So, like, I'm like, yeah, that was whatever, 7-8 years ago. Like, he has matured as a human being, as a coach since then. And obviously has demonstrated that, yes, he's an offensive genius. I've always said it's kind of like, to me, it's him and C. Sarkisian as my 2 favorite play callers in America. I think he's separated this year as a play caller in college football and has really become that number one guy, what he's able to do. Hell, what he's able to do with a guy that was playing like at a JUCO a year ago. It just brings him in, and then Trinidad Chambliss has turned into one of the best quarterbacks in the country. So, how he's been able to create offense, which is an offensive guy I love. Offense wins championships, not defense. And then, how he's able to recruit, how he's able to build a team through the portal, and how he's able to consistently win at Ole Miss. And I'm not here to poo-poo the Ole Miss program. I think it's a great program. I think it's a program that has shown that they can build consistency with a coach like Lane Kiffin. So, but going back to when the Florida job came open, I'm like, any big job comes open, my number one guy is Lane Kiffin. Go after Lane because of all the reasons I just talked about. And then the LSU job came open. I was like, well, that's even better. Go after Lane. Go after Lane. Go after Lane. But you sit back and you kind of bring in and you see everything that what it takes to make people happy in Gainesville, what it takes to make people happy in Baton Rouge, and then obviously to see what it takes to make people happy there in Oxford are very different. He's enjoying life. He's winning. And he's built a consistent program that does have an opportunity to win a championship. And will they win a championship ever there at Ole Miss? I don't know. Does he have a better chance to win a championship at LSU or Florida? Yeah, I would say maybe slightly a little bit more. But if you have everything you want, you're winning, you got the support from the fans, I'm kind of split here. Would I be mad if he went to Baton Rouge or if he went to Gainesville? No, I think he would absolutely dominate. And maybe the roster would look a little bit different because there's more consistency to build through the high school rankings than it is through the transfer portal. But, he's a winner wherever he goes. And, I think it would be kind of cool if he'd actually end up staying and did stay there at Ole Miss.
That's my thing is I'm getting bullets from people on Twitter from Ole Miss that are like, you want him to leave and go to Florida. You're trying to get him to go to LSU. It's like, dude, I don't want him. I'm not trying to get him to go anywhere. I think it would be awesome for college football if he was like, no, those logos are cool, but we got a good logo here in Oxford too. I'm on the doorstep of competing for a national championship. Like my effort here, if I'm Lane Kiffin going somewhere else, is to get back to where I'm at right now at Ole Miss. So I think that would make all the sense in the world. However, Aaron, maybe this didn't happen to you because you were, just look at you, one of the most symmetrical faces in all of college football, maybe to the world in general. But for someone like me, if my wife isn't texting me back quickly during our dating phase, the longer that goes, the fewer texts I'm getting, the less reassurance I'm getting. That may not bode well in the end for us. Now, obviously, your boy had some game, was able to eventually put a ring on her finger, but you see where I'm going.
It's a great flow.
I mean, we all cut our own deals, man. I'm working with what I got over here. But the fact that he hasn't said no, I'm staying here at Ole Miss at every single term feels a little bit telling to me. Do you think he fits somewhere?
No, but
say it again.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. It doesn't feel good if you're Ole Miss. You're kind of are we not good enough for you? Are we not good enough for you? But I would think he has to. I mean, you have to at least take the time. And I think it's not his fault. It's not his fault that he's in this position where you kind of feel like you have to look at these jobs now because, one, they've been open for a long time. I mean, the fact that we're firing coaches middle of the season, it makes it very difficult because obviously they're big-time programs with tradition, and they've both won multiple national championships in the past 2 decades. They're great. They're great opportunities. There's no doubt about it. It's unfortunate that we've gotten to the point where you have to fire a coach so early, and that a next coach has to make a decision in November, early December, in order to start to build a roster through the transfer portal, through the high school ranking. So I'm not going to sit here and say oh, Lane Kiffin. If you're an Ole Miss fan, you should be screw Lane Kiffin. He's screwing us. He's make a damn decision. He's been put in a really bad spot because of the way the calendar and how we just put everything for some reason in December and have to make all these decisions in crunch time. But I think it would be unwise of him not to take the time to fully vet these opportunities. And at the end of the day, too, I mean, for Ole Miss, if he does say, hey, I want to stay, then that you should feel even better that, hey, he had an opportunity to go to LSU. He had the opportunity to go to Florida. He looked at him. He checked him. He, maybe went a little, went to ice cream or a coffee date and said, you know what? Ole Miss is actually a little sexier than these two. I like where I'm at right now, and I'm going to stay. So I'm perfectly fine with him taking his time, figuring out this is a monster decision for him, and hopefully the last job he takes. Because if he does stay at Ole Miss, there's nowhere else he's going to go. And I think if he goes to Florida or LSU, if he has success, those are places you don't leave either. Like this is going to be, if Lane continues down the path that he's going, this will be Lane Kiffin's possibly last job as a head coach. So
I like that take
for
a lot.
him, he needs to make the right decision.
No, I think you're on the money. I like that take a lot. Not to cut you off there. Like if you're not leaving Ole Miss for LSU or Florida, you've already been to USC, so there's the heartstrings there that were tugged once, and that went how it went. Like, are you really leaving for another job? Do you want to get back to Tuscaloosa? That job's not coming open anytime soon, it feels like, with how Kalen DeBoer's got that thing rolling. So we'll see. Is there a spot here, Aaron, between Florida and LSU, assuming that he doesn't stay at Ole Miss, if that ends up being the case? Not saying that we know anything or we're forecasting anything, but if he were to leave Ole Miss, do you think he fits at LSU or Florida potentially better, one or the other?
I think LSU, I think because of the talent you can get. And everyone's like, oh, well, Florida's got tons of talent in the state of Florida. I get that. But, everyone's recruiting the state of Florida. Obviously, you got FSU, you got Miami, you got, Scott Frost at UCF, you got, everything that's going on at USF and their high-powered offense, which is exciting. So you got to compete with that. Then you obviously got to compete with Georgia and Bama and Ohio State and Clemson. Like everyone – there are no walls lined up around the state of Florida. And honestly, there's not like a lot of loyalty to Florida. I'm someone that grew up in the state of Florida. Listen, I grew up in Tampa. It's a different state when it comes to college football because there are so many choices. A lot of people are not from the state of Florida, or their parents aren't from the state of Florida. So there's no real big ties to a Gainesville or to a Tallahassee. We're like people from Louisiana are like from Louisiana, and you love LSU because like that's the big program in the state. And there's also all this hidden talent that unless you are like actively like recruiting like from one side of the state to the other side of the state, you just can't find a lot of these guys. You remember I had a game there at LSU. It might have been a year or two ago. And they had this crazy stat about the number of like 2- and 3-star players that then turn into NFL draft picks because they're just in the middle of the swamp and everyone out of state doesn't know how to get there. So they never even try, where I'm an LSU, on the LSU staff. And I have those connections to high school coaches. I have my, my boots on the ground within the state, and those kids want to go to LSU. So I think from a standpoint of like actually owning a state that has a plethora of talent, especially skill receivers, which obviously we know Lane offense, you put him with some really good quarterback play, you put him with some really good receivers, and then the rest is going to be history from there. So to me, if I was him, I would lean towards LSU. So I think if he does leave, that's going to be the one. It would be hard for me to say. I would be a little shocked at the end of the day if he left Ole Miss for Florida and not LSU. I think it's a two-man race right now between if he's going to be in Oxford or in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, I mean, one thing's for sure, my man's going to get paid. It's going to be a very good Christmas for the Kiffins should we get some resolution before then, based on the numbers being thrown around. But a man that's already paid, a made man in himself, is a one Kirby Smart. Aaron, Georgia, I get why they're ranked based on them already having lost to Alabama and other teams that are undefeated. But if I were to draft teams that I didn't want to play in the college football playoff, Georgia might be my first pick. Nothing against Ohio State. If Ohio State's off the board, Georgia's right there with them. This team feels a lot more trustworthy than last year. Aaron, where are you at as an alum of the University of Georgia? Where are you at on the Dogs right now, man?
This whole Georgia thing, it makes my job very difficult with how good they've been for the past 5 years, because anytime I say something good or like, oh, they're one of my favorites to win a championship. Oh, you're saying that because you went to Georgia. It's like,
this guy's a homer.
No, I'm saying it because they're like one of the best rosters and they've won multiple championships in the past 5 years. Like, what do you want me to say, that they suck? Like, no, they don't. They're really good. Like, it's not my fault that I actually went to Georgia. So it's first world problems, I guess, that I have to like toe the line of not being a fan, but also people not thinking I'm a fan just because I'm saying something good about Georgia. But no, they are right now playing as good as anyone in the country. And the way they've won these games too, and especially the way they've dominated lately, because they've shown they can win shootouts versus Tennessee, versus Ole Miss. They can find ways to win in the fourth quarter. They can gut it out. Now they're starting to show the ability to flex and play better defense. And then I am just so impressed. One with the defense, but you kind of knew the defense was eventually going to get better. Will they be elite? Will they be as good as Oklahoma or as good as Ohio State? I don't think so. I think they're still a year away from being a really, really good defense, but they're better than they were early in the season. That's kind of all they needed to do was close that gap with how good the offense has been the entire season. But just seeing Gunnar Stockton's maturity and growth this year as a leader, honestly, as a passer, because I thought, you watch the games last year against Notre Dame, you watch the game versus Texas, you're like, okay, he's got a howitzer. Like the dude's he's got a strong arm. You give me a 12 back to 10 curl route, 3 steps, hitch, bang. He's going to put it on the back of the guy's helmet where he turns around, he's going to catch it right in his face mask. You got a deep ball one-on-one, he's going to be able to push the ball vertically down the field. Like, those are great throws. And those are, I'm not going to say easy throws, but those are easier throws. When you're throwing to the perimeter, you tend to see those passes a lot better as a quarterback because there's not defensive linemen in front of you. There's not linebackers you got to throw around. So I love those throws, and they're great, and you can live and win by doing that. But when you take that next level as a quarterback is utilizing the middle of the field, being able to have touch, being able to layer the football, being able to anticipate windows and just throw it without maybe even seeing a guy, just saying like, hey, I saw a guy in my first step. This linebacker went this way. I know that gap's going to be there. I'm going to hit my third step and just let that thing rip. You're seeing him now incorporate that into the offense. I saw, I think it was a week or two ago, him layer a seam ball to Oscar up and over a linebacker before the high safety was able to make a play on it. And that's something I did not see him do last year. It's not something I saw him was able to do for the first 5 or 6 games of the season. So he is now becoming a complete quarterback that can make the throws over the middle to the outside, can run. And this offense is dangerous, man. So, like, I'm with you. Like, I don't know if there's a team playing better than Georgia right now that I trust to win a 4-quarter game. Like, you can say Ohio State's been playing better than everyone else, but I don't know what they're going to do in the 4th quarter. I don't know what their quarterback, who has never been put in a situation where the ball's in his hand, it's a tie ball game, and everyone's butt's a little tight, and he's got to go out there and make plays. It's easy playing as a quarterback when you got those 2 stud receivers and you're up by 3 touchdowns. It's a little different when the game's on the line. So that's going to be the big thing for Ohio State. But, yeah, those 2 teams right now playing at an elevated level.
And just the way that it feels like Georgia personality-wise is just like different from where they were a year ago. And I don't want to turn this into like the Carson Beck alley-oop sesh because I know we'll talk about Miami here in a minute. But it feels so much like the way this team responds to Gunnar Stockton and the personality of this team in line with who Gunnar Stockton is. It feels very different than where they were a year ago, and then he transfers, and there's some buzz around, well, maybe he wasn't like everyone's number one teammate if you did the power rankings in Athens. Like, how much do you think that plays into this team's success and like what Gunnar Stockton's doing? It feels like a big deal to me.
Yeah, and this is where I also get in trouble too a lot of times with fans because they're like, you just love Carson Beck, and I do love Carson Beck. I think Carson Beck is an elite quarterback, and I know that he's had some bad moments this season. You go back to the Louisville game, you go back to like last year versus Florida. But I think a big difference between last year and this year, there isn't 37 drops going on right now offensively. Yeah. There isn't an inability to run the football. So people are like, oh, what's the big difference from a year ago Georgia to this year? And they're like, oh, it's because Gunner's in there and Gunner's playing. And once again, I'm not trying to compare those 2 quarterbacks and say that I wish Carson was a starting quarterback for Georgia over Gunner. Once again, like I just wax poetic about Gunner, and I said this 2 weeks ago. I think Gunner should win the Heisman Trophy the way he's played this year. No one has been better in the 4th quarter. No one has put the team on their back like Gunner has this entire season, and has found ways to win against top competition. In crunch time, he has the numbers passing, he has the numbers running. So he should be in consideration to be in New York and possibly win the Heisman. It's like that's how I feel about Gunner. But I will say this about Carson. Carson would be having a significantly better season this year at Georgia if he stayed because of the better talent around the quarterback. They got a run game, the offensive line's been more consistent, and they have receivers that aren't dropping every single pass. It's a world difference. 2 tight ends that are a year more in the offense that are playing on Oscar. You got one of the premier gadget players in America from USC who has been an absolute nightmare for teams over the middle of the field. Colby, when he was healthy, was actually kicking butt this year. Noah Thomas is coming on. The transfer from 2 years ago from Vanderbilt 16 has been tremendous as well. So like everyone is playing at an elevated level, and maybe that's because of Gunner. Maybe that is maybe I am wrong about the entire thing, and Gunner is elevating the play of those guys around him. But I'm just saying, from watching Georgia a year ago, Carson was never the problem. The guys around him could not compete at a high level consistently over week in and week out, and that's what got Georgia beat down the stretch, and they're really, really hindered their opportunity to win a national championship. So I don't think that's the reason why Georgia's having a better as being at the quarterback spot. I think it's everyone around them playing more consistently.
You know who I don't hear about anymore either, Aaron? No Mike Bobo slander these days. Last year it was like the weather's bad in Athens, Mike Bobo's fault. I got a long stoplight, Mike Bobo's fault. This year it's like Mike Bobo's dealing.
People were complaining about Mike Bobo during the Tennessee game, and I'm just like, are we watching the same game right now? Like,
what is happening?
How is Mike Bobo coming out of your mouth? They're the reason. The offense is the reason why they're in the game. Like, why can't we ever just blame the defense? It's like, no, it's always Mike's fault. Even when they score 40 points, no, it's Bobo's fault. I'm like, whatever, dude. Like, come on.
Unbelievable. So if your Thanksgiving meal is bad today in Athens, you know who to blame. One Mike Bobo. But yeah, Aaron, I'm with you, man. I wish Cornell and Baylor would make my job a bit harder on this side of things, but neither here nor there. Well, we're talking about Carson Beck for a minute there. Miami is a curious case right now in the world of college football. I texted you before, kind of sent you some things I'm thinking about talking about, and then I was like, anything you're hot about, anything that you want to just talk about in general in the world of where we are right now in this sport. You like Miami more than most folks. Is that accurate?
Yep. I love Miami. I love the Canes. I've loved them early in the season, much to the chagrin of Ohio State fans when I had a tweet that I said Miami and then a distant second afterwards. I just think this team is very elite in a lot of categories. And I think about last year's Ohio State team. You know, they had 2 losses going into the playoffs, and the big conversation was, do they deserve to get in? And my opinion was I didn't think they deserved necessarily to get in. But if they got in, they were going to win the national championship. And if you go look back, I had Ohio State winning the national championship last year. Like, they just have too much talent. Like, at the end of the day, it's still about the Jimmies and Joes, and they had more Jimmies and Joes than anyone else in the country. You saw that by them winning a national championship, and obviously you saw that with how many guys that got drafted to the NFL. I think Miami's in a very similar boat. When you look at that roster, when you look at Carson, the offensive line, the receivers, you look at Bain in the defense and how good they are in their ability to get after the quarterback and stop the run. That's a dangerous football team that you put them on the field with everyone else in college football in the top 12. You'll probably say, like, okay, Miami is just as good, if not better, at most positions than the team they're going to be facing. So, like, they give me a lot of 2024 Ohio State vibes where you don't want to play them in a one-game situation playoff game at all, because they can wreck you on offense with those guys on defense. And Carson Beck, to me, is still one of the premier quarterbacks in college football with elite talent on the outside and a great offensive line that can bulldoze you as well. So I love Miami. Are they going to get in? And do they deserve to get in? The same conversation we had a year ago about Ohio State. They need a little bit more help because there are so many teams with 2 losses right now. Mm-hmm. They were hoping that Utah would have crapped the bed a week ago, and unfortunately for them, Utah did find a way to win that game. So it's going to be a tough task for them to get in. But if they do, I will probably pick them as one of the teams to make it to the Final Four when it's all said and done. That's how much I have faith in the Hurricanes if they do find a way into the tournament.
I think what you're saying is so not crazy, but social media is so toxic to where it's hard for people to, like, hear that are on the other side of the fence when it comes to the Canes. Like, I also have a tweet out there talking about, I think Ruben Bain will be a Heisman finalist. That doesn't look like it's going to happen. However, though, what you said is on the money. Like, you look at Miami from a roster perspective, there's not like this massive hole or personnel flaw. It's like, how is Miami lost games? They've done dumb stuff. Carson Beck throws 4 picks. You got the pick in overtime against SMU. That was one of his 2. The defense has had a couple of moments where it's like, that's a busted coverage. What are we doing here? Offense has had some moments where, like, and stop-start. But, like, at a base level, you put them on the field with whoever. I don't think that spread would be probably more than a touchdown against most teams. BetMGM right now has a hypothetical line for Miami, Ole Miss based on how the playoff rankings were a week ago. And it was like Miami was a 4.5-point dog on the road, so 3.5 points aside to home field. That means they think Ole Miss is a 1.5 better than Miami. Like, that's a pick 'em in my mind. Like, yeah. So I'm with you. Do you think there's a world here where if Miami gets in, they are good enough to play for a national title? You think like they're that level good, or just kind of frisky?
No, I do think they're that level good. No, 100%. I think they're that level good. I think they are more than capable of winning a national championship if they get in there. I think, I like Ole Miss, but I would say Miami is a significantly better defense than Ole Miss. I think the problem with Miami this year is they play a style of football that I enjoy watching because it is very much a pro style, old school type offense where it's not, hey, we're going to spread you out. Hey, we're going to throw the ball 50 times a game. Hey, we're going to go up tempo. We just know that we're good and we're just going to line up and just beat you. And obviously in that case, the margins for error are smaller because you can't go out there and Carson have a bad game like you did versus Louisville. You can't throw an interception or multiple interceptions versus SMU because you're not playing a game where you're going to have a ton of possessions and throw the ball a bunch and just going to have an opportunity to score 50 points. Like the games are going to be lower scoring. The games are going to be closer. It reminds me more of like an NFL team and how an NFL game is going to be played when you play another competitive football team. So it just makes you have to be better. And I think they are that good to win those style of games in a playoff situation. So like if you put them against Oklahoma, if you put them against Ole Miss, if you put them against Notre Dame, who they beat, and they proved us that they can beat. And I get Notre Dame has been significantly better since that first game early in the season. CJ Carr has been significantly better. He's growing as a quarterback. The defensive backs have been better. But all you can say is, hey, Miami beat Notre Dame. And obviously that has been the big discussion point for 2 weeks of who deserves to get in with the similar schedule or similar records, obviously identical records. So a lot will be, helped out for Miami this week because Pittsburgh just beat Georgia Tech. So now it's Pittsburgh hosting Miami. If Miami wins that game and Notre Dame plays Stanford, it's hard for me if I'm not in that committee room to say, let's put those two teams on the board. Who is the better resume? And, oh, by the way, there has been a head-to-head between the two, and Miami won. And I love Notre Dame, too. I think Notre Dame is one of the best teams in America. It just would be kind of sickening to me if Notre Dame is a number 8 seed and Miami's left out, especially if Miami goes on the road and wins against Pittsburgh this weekend.
Hey, Notre Dame got to go to Palo Alto now. Got to go out to the farm. I don't know. We'll see. Frisky Stanford team. We'll see what happens out there. But I feel like when I watch Miami, I'm not on the same roller coaster that I was last year. Like you knew every single weekend, doesn't matter who they're playing, doesn't matter the spread. It's going to be close. Miami might be down in the first half. Cam Ward will do something cool, and then Miami will 10 times out of 12 find a way to pull it out. But I just feel like this team's got such a higher floor. They have two unexcused absences, I call it, with the Louisville and SMU game. But outside of that, I'm like, I really like this body.
How far do you think they could go? Like, do you think they can make? I guarantee if they're in the playoffs, they'll make it to the Final Four. I think they're good enough to win a national championship. I guarantee they'll make it to the Final Four. Are you as high on them as I am, or do you think they're a first round and out, or maybe second round and out type of team?
I think they could definitely win a game. It's tough now, Aaron. Like I say this, I think it's more difficult than ever to predict who's winning a national championship in the preseason because we don't know if we're going to get a draw like we're Penn State where we get SMU and Boise State the first 2 rounds, whereas Ohio State gets to play Tennessee the first round and then they go play Oregon. Like those are 2 very different. So I think giving like all things be equal on the draw, I think Miami could be a 2-win team in the playoff. Yeah, I do. But it's a matter of, am I getting the Miami that showed up in September, or do we get the Miami that showed up against Louisville? So we'll see. It
would be funny if Ohio State got Oregon this year, where Miami wins the first. If Miami gets in, Miami wins the first round, and then Miami plays Ohio State, similar to what Oregon did last year, where Oregon had the bye. Ohio State wins, and then they get smoked. And I think Miami's that. I don't think Miami would smoke Ohio State, obviously, to the extent that Ohio State smoked Oregon a year ago. And obviously playing them for a second time, obviously, is a little bit different than playing for the first time. But that could be funny of like, oh, finally Ohio State gets challenged against a team that could be just as physical as them at the line of scrimmage, and your freshman quarterback finally gets exposed against that defense because it's not just 7-on-7. So that would be kind of funny if that draw ends up happening for Ohio State.
Dude, the playoff matchups we could get here across the board are going to be so awesome. If it's Miami, Ohio State, like Ohio State, anybody is going to be awesome. But let's talk about this weekend's game for Ohio State, Aaron, because if they lose to Michigan for the 5th year in a row, Columbus may not exist anymore. Like they might just wipe it off the map and say this is where Columbus used to be. However, now after that 5th loss to Michigan, the whole place just imploded. Vibe feels very different this year, but it felt different last year. Like, where are you at on the Buckeyes heading into this game in Ann Arbor? Bryce Underwood a little more. I mean, what they had at quarterback a year ago versus what they have now is just like night and day. Where are you at on Ohio State, Michigan right now, Aaron?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing as we felt last year. Like, there's no way, especially the game being at Ohio State, that Ohio State would lose that game. And now you're like, oh, well, it's at Michigan. They couldn't win last year. So, like, there's not a high level of confidence. That's for sure. Should they win? Yes. Are they the better team? 100%. But they were the better team last year. They were probably the better team 3 years ago. The year before, obviously, Michigan won the national championship. But it just kind of – it's starting to feel like – what Georgia has on Texas, and then what Alabama has on Georgia, where there's been multiple years, just going back to that game, Georgia-Alabama, just because obviously I'm very familiar with it. There's been multiple times over the past 5 years where Georgia has been, in my opinion, the better football team. And even go back to Georgia's first national championship game. Heading into that SEC championship, when Georgia was the number 1 defense in America and how good they were, I remember even talking to a bunch of Alabama fans. They're like, dude, we're not even going to the game, because Georgia's it's their year this year. Like, we don't have an opportunity. Don't worry, we'll be back next year. We'll be, all that. And I remember even being in Atlanta at the SEC championship game, and it felt like it was 70, 80% Georgia fans, because Alabama fans just really didn't have a ton of faith that they were going to win it. They kind of just were somewhat waving the white flag, and Alabama won the game. They won it decisively. And you're kind of like, man, if Georgia can't win, even when the fans believe that Georgia's the better team, even when Nick Saban's the head coach, that's not good for the future. Obviously, Georgia finally were able to win the national championship a month later, but that's kind of the same feeling you have right now, that you have a national championship coach in Ryan Day. Shermer is in his 2nd season as a head coach at Michigan. He's not Nick Saban. He's not Kirby Smart to Steve Sarkisian. Like, you have the coaching advantage, you have the roster advantage. This has to be it, right? Like, why can't you get it done now? So I'm going to pick Ohio State to win. I do think that Ohio State doesn't really have a lot of holes, besides the fact that I don't know if they're a 4-quarter football team or not. And for Michigan, can you make it a 4-quarter game? Can you slow it down? Can you run it? Can you figure out a way to make the quarterback uncomfortable, Julian Sand, and see if he can make some mistakes? Because right now he has yet to really make any mistakes. He's been incredibly accurate, like stupidly accurate, but he also hasn't been put under pressure at all. And once again, like, life is easy when you're playing 7-on-7 with those receivers on the outside and knowing that you have one of the best defenses in the country. How is he going to be on the road in that environment, in this rivalry game, if it does somehow turn into a 4-quarter battle? I just want to see it. Like, I love the kid. I love what his attributes are as a quarterback. He is one of the best quarterbacks in America, no doubt about it. I just want to see, does he got the chops in the 4th quarter to make it happen in a rivalry game like this, if it ends up being, like I said, a 60-minute battle?
Didn't Ohio State last year feel a little bit like just on tilt, like kind of pent up? They were as us against the world. We're going to go win the national championship this year. Yeah. It's natty or bust. They're breaking it down on that during camp. And like, this year's team just feels a little more suave, feels a little bit more mature,
unfazed.
A little bit more unfazed. Like, I don't want to make things weird. I got a man crush on Julian Sand, dude. Like, the way that he operates, the way that he seems unfazed by everything is a great word you mentioned. Maybe we're both from the West Coast, and that's part of it. Maybe it's the flow that he has that he's growing out. Julian, we're noticing that over here on this side of things, all right? Like, he's just –
or maybe it's because he has 2 first-round receivers that he gets to throw to, JD.
Dude,
like,
but
the
ball doesn't touch the ground, Aaron. The ball doesn't touch the 80% complete percentage. I'm like, that's hard on routes on air.
Put yourself in the perspective of a defense. Like, what do you do defensively against those guys? It is a limited playbook that defenses can play with when you have those 2 guys on the outside. I mean, I'm not here to just – I love this offense, and hell, like, they are that much more talented. Everyone's so good for them. But honestly, when I watch Ohio State, it feels like the 1s going against the 2s in practice, where you're just like, you have to give vanilla looks, because you can't get exotic. You can't do half your stuff in the playbook because they're just that good on the outside.
And I think right in line with that, like, the thing that's impressive to me is, even with, because you said it, like, the advantage they have with Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith, like 2 Biletnikoff wide receivers, it shouldn't be allowed, it's cheating, all those things. But the way the ball doesn't touch the ground, I'm like,
I know.
I mean, you were probably in a lot more competitive routes on air situations than I was. Like, I'm not going to go ahead and say that Cornell were just like an air raid attack, but 80% in routes on air is tough. And he's like 80% against Division I defenses. Like that, the fact that he doesn't miss a lot or hardly ever, that's why I'm like, hey, this kid's got some juice.
Oh, he's
to him.
special. He's special. I'm 100%. And I think if he goes out, like right now, I don't have him in my Heisman. If I did pick a Heisman.
Interesting. Okay.
So if
whoever's your finalist,
in charge of the Heisman, give me a vote. I don't have him in my short list.
Okay.
I have him on the outside looking in. I want to see if he goes out there and Damon looks as impressive as he has this season, he'll get on my list. If he goes out there and beats Indiana and looks as impressive as he's looked, and I mean, even versus Indiana, I don't need him to be 80%. Like, say he goes versus Indiana and throws 3 touchdowns, interception, and like 290 yards. I'm like, okay, that's a damn good game, and they win. Then he elevates himself to, you just had your Heisman moment along with these stats. Then yes, you're my Heisman guy. But I'm not having him as my Heisman guy until he does it these next 2 weeks, to be honest. I think there's been other guys, Marcel, Jeremiah Love, Gunnar Stockton, who I talked about earlier in the show. Like, those guys have done it, been put in the pressure cooker, and showed me that they are got the guts to kind of be that full package to win a Heisman. Diego Pavia, hell, I mean, even the way he played this past weekend and what he's done this year, and obviously he's going to have another opportunity versus Tennessee to make have another statement. Like, I would have those guys ahead of him right now in my ballot. Obviously, Fernando Mendoza there at Indiana, especially with some of the games that he's been able to produce. So I'm not all in on Julian Sand. I just need him to have a couple more of those Heisman games against better competition before I crown him and that you're going to New York for me.
I think that logic is sound. I mean, in case you needed any affirmation, I think that logic is very sound. And I'm as high at Julian Sand as there is, but I think that frame of thought is very sound. Wouldn't it? We're
going to learn a lot about him in 2 weeks. Like, let's just watch the games.
Yeah,
we're going to find out.
If he wins the Heisman, it'll be because they beat Michigan and he does enough against Indiana, that stat line you mentioned, to put him in New York and have him hosting that trophy. But wouldn't it be the most 2025 thing ever if Bryce Underwood just goes out there and goes for number 5 against Ohio State? Like, where I think Bryce Underwood, I'm waiting to see like the full Bryce Underwood experience for Michigan, where they run him more and cut it loose a little bit more. I wonder how much ability they truly have on the outside around him to like maximize what he has. What do you see when you see Bryce Underwood, Aaron, from what you've been able to watch from him?
Yeah, I mean, I see obviously a very gifted quarterback. There's no doubt about it. I mean, the dude's got a beautiful release. He's got a rocket for an arm. He's super athletic. I mean, he checks off a lot of boxes. There's some touch and timing things that need to continue to progress. But I think that if you had the same type of receivers that you'll be looking across the field and watching at Ohio State, you can kind of maybe trust a little bit more what you can do and build a little bit more chemistry and build some more confidence. If you had better guys around you. So I think that if you're Michigan, you're just scratching the surface of what Bryce Underwood could be, which is a scary thought if you're other teams inside the Big Ten. I think if you're able to get him, even one elite top receiver next year, you're talking about a guy that should elevate himself in year 2 as a starting quarterback to one of the best quarterbacks in college football. If you can get 2 guys around him, maybe not even to the extent that Ohio State has, but just 2 capable playmakers, watch out. This Michigan offense could look vastly different than what we've been accustomed to seeing them over the past, forever, essentially, because of his talent and what he could do from a physical standpoint. So I love him. Like I said, could this be his moment of like, hey man, I've played an entire season. I am this physically gifted. I'm going to be that type of guy that when the lights are the brightest is when I really, really shine. I would love to see that, no doubt about it. Then obviously then Michigan has an opportunity to be a playoff team. Michigan has an opportunity to go to the Big Ten championship game if Oregon loses in their matchup against Washington. So can it happen? 100%, because he is, to your point earlier, he's better than the quarterback they had a year ago. It's just a matter of this is a really good Ohio State defense in all 3 levels, elite linebackers, one of the best players in America at the safety position. Will he have an opportunity to even have guys get open is going to be a problem for Michigan.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch that one, man. We're going to learn so much about both quarterbacks and just the juice behind it with it being the game. Like, that's going to be That's going to be awesome. I can wait for that one. But, Aaron, one last game I want to get your thoughts on here before we get into the Thanksgiving festivities. A&M in Texas gives me the heebie-jeebies, man. It really does. That line opened at 2.5 favoring A&M. It's in Austin. We've seen what A&M's capable of in the first half against South Carolina. Like, I preseason was as high on A&M as anybody that I knew, but I'm looking at this game. I still have picked A&M to win. But dude, Colin Simmons off the edge, Anthony Hill in that for Texas.
Don't get scared.
Sark, like I'm not tiptoeing into this thing. I'm just treading a little bit lightly. You think A&M's going to roll here? Where are you at on this one, Aaron?
Well, I'm not going to come in and say A&M's going to roll, but
A&M by 50? Did you say A&M by 50 in this?
Yeah, A&M by 50, 100%. A&M's going to do what Georgia did to Texas is kind of what I'm getting at right here. No, it's a rivalry game. It's on the road. I love the progression of Arch this season, but it's never been about Arch. I mean, obviously, it's been about Arch, but like the issues have never really truly been Arch. Like, could he have been better early in the season? Yeah, like he was off. I did a bunch of film breakdowns of Arch, but you kind of got to the point in the middle of the season where it's like Arch is making plays. He needs guys around him to play better. And then obviously they faced Georgia, and he looked good. Like I thought Arch actually played really well versus the Dogs. Same things that showed up again this season showed up again. Lack of consistency from the receiving position. You saw some key drops. And then the offensive line was atrocious. They couldn't block for him. Like, he's making throws where I'm like, how do you even see where you're throwing the football? Because there's a defender that's clearly right in your face. He needs some support. We talk about Michigan needing some support around their quarterback. Texas needs some support around Arch heading into next season. So I just think that Texas has way too many flaws still. That just because you had a great game versus Arkansas doesn't tell me anything. Arkansas is 0-7 in the SEC. Arkansas is a really bad football team. So, like, yes, woohoo, Arch got 6 touchdowns. You look great. You're playing a pretty bad Arkansas Razorback team. This is a different step. This defensive line. And then you just think about like all the games this year, when there is such a gap between defensive line and offensive line, that's when teams really get exposed. What is A&M really good at doing? A&M can get after the quarterback. What is Texas really bad at doing? Protecting the quarterback. This is just an awful matchup for Texas. College football in general is all about matchups. Where's my strength versus your weakness and vice versa? Well, Texas can't run the football. A&M can't stop the run, so that doesn't really matter because both teams are really bad in that category. Texas can't pass protect. A&M's one of the best at getting after the quarterback. That's an issue. That's a major issue. And I look at the other side, and as long as Marcel Reed doesn't just start throwing the ball to the other team like he did for South Carolina, that's a one-game sample out of an entire football season. So I'm going to bet he's going to look like the other 10 games and not just that one. I think A&M's going to win this game by double digits. I think they can win this game by 10 points. I am just not high on Texas and that offense and the weapons and offensive line. I just think it's a really bad matchup going against that Aggies defense.
I just think, right around what you're saying, I think the defensive line for A&M, but also even if things get weird for A&M on the offensive side, like you can throw a screen pass and have Concepcion take 5 into 50 or Craver catch one and go to the house. Like it feels like they don't need to do anything extraordinary to get explosive plays, which kind of settles me down a little bit when I start to feel a little bit tense about this one. How good do you think A&M is? Because I think a lot of people are waiting for the other shoe to drop on A&M, and then they saw the South Carolina game, and they go, okay, hey, see, we told you it was coming, which feels like a self-fulfilling prophecy of sorts, if that was already your take in the preseason. I feel like the floor is low, but, I mean, the ceiling feels like they could go win a national championship.
No, I think it is. I mean, you go back to that game, too, and obviously we all look at Marcel and how bad he played in the first half, but everyone played bad. I mean, how many drop passes were there in the first half? I mean, one for a touchdown through, I forget which one of the star receivers, but there was like 3 or 4 drop passes in the first half. So it was like everyone decided to have a bad first half all at once. And that's not obviously what you want. So I don't anticipate that happening. Like maybe one of the receivers has a bad first half, or maybe Marcel's a little bit off, but to think that their 3 superstars are all going to be off again for a half, or we haven't seen that all but once against South Carolina this year. And then too, like, let's be honest, you're at home versus South Carolina and how bad South Carolina wins. You kind of, not gonna say you're in cruise control, but your mentality is a little bit different when it's like, oh, we're going on the road against our big time rival in Texas. win and you're in the SEC championship game, and you keep on winning, you may end up maybe find a way to get that number 1 seed. At least you're probably going to get the number 2 seed heading into the playoffs. So I do think you'll get a more focused team in the A&M Aggies. But I think they're one of the best teams in the country. I think Marcel's playing at a high level. You got 2 elite receivers. They found a way to have like 5 running backs that, one guy goes down, the next one comes in, and they just keep going down the list. They can get after the quarterback. I am a little bit worried about the run defense because you have seen teams and you will see teams down the stretch in the playoffs that will be able to run the football. And if you give up 200 rushing yards against teams, that's going to be very difficult to win those games. If you face a Notre Dame, if you face a Georgia, and those teams want to play bully ball and eat up clock and keep Marcel and that offense off the field, that could be a problem down the line. But when you look at who they have to face this week in Texas, who they're going to have to face in Alabama, most likely in the SEC championship game, who can't run the football at all, you're going to be the number 2 seed, if not the number 1 seed in the playoffs, and have a pretty decent path to get to a championship. So it's a great roster. I love their head coach. I really like their quarterback. So yeah, they have an opportunity to win a championship, no doubt about it.
Just A&M being in Atlanta. If you told someone that in the preseason at media days, they'd have been like, "What? Come on, man, get off the clickbait. You just want to get A&M." And like that was, I think, like the way people thought about A&M. And now in their second year under Mike Elko, the fact that he's got him on the doorstep of playing in that game, I think Elko's awesome. Just what you said, he seems to be exactly what they needed. Like he is like the strict teacher that brings the best out of you. That's a stickler on the homework, and eventually, when you're graduating from whatever prestigious institution that you want to name next, like that's the guy. That's the guy that.
He's also like a little teddy bear too, man. Like, I mean, when you sit down and talk with him as a reporter, like just super engaging, nice, gives you everything that you want. He's kind of like that. I know the term gets thrown around a lot, but like a player's coach, a guy that understands how to push you to get the max. But as a player, he's doing it because he's trying to get your best from you. And at the end of the day, he has you first in mind. A player's coach is not like a super cool guy like the coach for the Miami Dolphins. Like that's like a cool guy coach. Sure. A player coach is the guy that you trust that everything that he's telling me right now is for my betterment. And that, yes, there are going to be times that he's going to be tough on me. There's going to be times where he's going to dog cuss me. But then there's going to be other times where he brings me in his office and we're going to chat about life and hang out and ask me how my family's doing, how my grade's doing, how can I serve you as a player. And that's that servant mentality that anyone in life needs. It's about how, as a leader, how can I serve you and your needs? And that is Mike Elko. He is there to serve his players in a variety of ways and understand how to push those buttons to get the maximum out of them. So I'm with you, man. To see what he's done in 2 years there, or in his second year, has been tremendous. To finally get them over that kind of aim for hump, and to now be, they're in the playoffs. Yeah. But maybe you can get even more these next 2 weeks and get an SEC championship.
And when he got the job, the fact that he knew the war hymn, like that was something that I think was interesting. You see him at the press conference, and they're doing the sway back and forth, which most people are like, wait, that feels weird. That feels cultish. What's going on here? But he knows the words, having been to DC before. So the fact that he gets A&M, I think, is just the cherry on top that electrifies all of it. But Aaron, I appreciate all your time, man. Appreciate you making some time in the midst of a busy Thanksgiving week. Zucchini bread off the board in the first round of the Thanksgiving draft. What's going second round for you? I know it's zucchini bread. Learned about this time last year. What's number 2 in the Aaron Murray Thanksgiving draft?
Oh, baby. I like a little sweet potato casserole. Love some sweet potato casserole. So we're going probably a little ham, a little turkey. We got like 3 different meats at our house. So we got a roast going. We got the ham. We got the turkey. So I'll get all 3. Nice. Get my sweet potatoes on. Get some broccoli. Get some green beans. Then get some zucchini bread. Then we'll get some pecan pie, a few glasses of some red, and boy, it's gonna be a great flight to San Francisco tomorrow. I'll be knocked on my butt for 4 hours, so it's a perfect time to go big right now.
Let's go, baby. Go big or go home. Appreciate you making time, man. Excited to hear you on the call for a big one on ESPN2 with SMU and Cal, man. Thanks again.
Appreciate it, man. Have a great Thanksgiving, everyone.
Great stuff there from Aaron Murray. Appreciate him making time. Kind of becoming an annual tradition of sorts to have Aaron Murray on for our Thanksgiving episode. But let's finish up this Thanksgiving hard count edition with what we do every single Thursday, which is final predictions for the weekend on deck, and I don't do that by myself. No, I do it with the best in the business, the best dressed in the business, two-time All-Sunbelt safety, running the alley, as well as bringing you some juice on the hard count. Our man, Caden Smith. You might know him as Cato. Cato, the last one of the regular season of these bad boys, brother. How we feeling?
Bittersweet for sure. Glad this slate's looking like it does. It looks very tasty, especially compared to last week. And yeah, man, just excited. Gotta end on a strong note. Last week I predicted the Pitt win. I predicted the SMU win. We'll try to keep the ball rolling here, man. Really excited about it. Upset watch not as successful with me picking Florida in the swamp.
Hey, what are you gonna do? Repeat
history, but yeah, man, it's what it's all about, man. It's what it's all about.
Charge it to the game. Well, I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for the slate. I'm thankful we're twinning just a little bit here, just a little. I mean, it's not like the most on the nose twin, but it's a very slight twin. Man, you want to get us started with some upset watch you got for this rivalry weekend?
Yeah, man. We got like a turkey and gravy kind of warm Thanksgiving vibe with the fits. So not matching, but coordinated. But upset watch for me, JD. A lot of places you can go here. I feel like rivalry week is the best place to kind of swing your sword when it comes to an upset watch, because sometimes it's just the magic of a rivalry. But for me, JD, Virginia hosting Virginia Tech. I've got the Cavs on upset watch. Virginia Tech.
Let's go, dude.
9.5-point favorites for Virginia. A little too rich for my blood. Virginia Tech has won this game 19 out of the last 20 times. They have run this rivalry. It doesn't matter where it is. I think they feel that within. I think that's just about all they have to play for, that and their interim coach. That's been great for them, that they want to send off on a good note. Virginia also noticeably, they can win this game and clinch the ACC title, but even if Pitt loses, that also clinches it for them. So it's a must-win for them. They control their own destiny, yes, but man, if there was one team in a spot where history could repeat itself like it continues, and Virginia has played plenty of close games this year, their home crowd will be excited. I think Virginia Tech will be excited. They'll try to bring their own juice. Give me Virginia Tech, a little upset watch on Virginia this weekend.
Well, I love that pick. I think that's a great pick. In fact, I love it so much, Cato. I have that written down on my own paper as my upset pick. Yes. The Commonwealth Clash, baby.
Commonwealth Clash.
Dude, we're dialed in. I mean, so you gave a much more articulate train of thought as to why this is your upset pick. For me, I'm sitting there looking at these spreads, looking at the lines, looking at the one that looks a little bit more sizable, but not too sizable, kind of like the right Thanksgiving plate. You don't want too much to where you're going back like to the trash can, feeling a little bit silly, putting leftovers down into the receptacle. I'm looking at Virginia, and I'm like, man, have they been all that unstoppable this year? I mean, it was just a couple of weeks ago. It feels like they were winning every single game in double overtime, taking Chapel Bill down to the freaking wire. And, I love Chandler Morris, man after my own heart. However, a little bit of gunslingerish to him. And with a gunslinger, Cato, you know this very well, playing the safety position, they can be a lot of feast, a Thanksgiving feast even, but also they can be quite a bit of famine. And Virginia Tech, scrappy bunch, Kyron Jones toting the rock, the quarterback design run game for Virginia Tech, I think they get it done. I think they get it done on Thanksgiving weekend. The Commonwealth Clash, we're aligned here, brother. Virginia Tech, spoiling Virginia's ACC title chances. How about that?
It's a good one. That makes me feel better. I'll sleep better at night knowing that my upset watch pick is co-signed by you. So I think this is the move. You're right. There's a lot of close ones. There's a lot of in between ones. This one felt just right, man.
9.5. Just under that double-digit mark. I mean, I think we're hey, the Chainsmokers say, man, if we go down together. All right, I'll stand on that. You want to get us going with your next prediction right here, brother?
Yeah, man. My next one is Georgia just wins big. I mean, there's no spreads at 13.5 according to BetMGM. To me, this one it might be too obvious, but for me, it just seems so obvious. We talk about this Georgia team the beginning of the season, fighting in the fourth quarter, coming from behind, scrappy, hard to kill kind of team. They're not that anymore. In the month of November, they've been absolutely dominant. It started with that Mississippi State win, the Texas win, the Charlotte win. They're rolling now. They look like they're in their final form, looking ready for the playoff. Georgia Tech, on the other hand, it's been the absolute opposite, man, in the month of November. Took their first loss of the season in the month of November. NC State running for 7 yards of carry against them, putting up 48 points. Boston College, 36-34, squeaking out a win at Boston College. Then we all saw the Pitt game, which could have been a blowout. They continue to fight. You got to respect them for that. But to me, neutral site, maybe this isn't Bobby Dodd. You can kind of get some momentum going. But everyone from Atlanta knows that most fans in Georgia are Georgia Bulldogs fans. So That Mercedes-Benz, I expect like an 80-20 probably split there. Trending in the right direction, trending in the wrong direction, neutral site. Yeah, this one just feels like the dogs all the way. Am I crazy?
Not even a little bit, man. For all the dogs in this one. A lot of canines in the building, I have to imagine, in Atlanta. Also, I watched Kirby Smart's press conference this morning, and he doesn't look ever bothered by anything all that much anyways, but watching him in this presser, he just looked too comfortable, dude. He looked too cozy. Like, he's wearing a sick crew neck that had Georgia across. I mean, maybe it's the Thanksgiving week has got him feeling a little bit chill. Again, kind of has a low heart rate to begin with and those kind of things, but, dude, it just – something in the voice, the intangibles from the guy. I was like, yeah, I'm right there with you, Cato. I'll take Georgia to win, Georgia to cover 13.5. I think it's going to keep going up too.
Me too.
Might be 14.5 by game time. Who's to say? But I think that's a great pick, man. I'm going to go in that same train of thought in terms of teams rolling this weekend. I think we're aligned here as well. Give me the Ducks to just absolutely handle business. And one of the greatest rivalry nicknames as well, the Cascade Clash, going to Seattle. I don't think Oregon needs any caffeine in this one, man. I think that the run game is going to make a statement of sorts against this Washington front. And they've kind of made statements over the course of the season, but I think they give you something to remember before the college football playoff hits. You say, okay, that team went and played that other team in purple at their place on a rivalry weekend. I said it during our prediction show as well, Kid, or the Wednesday show, rather. I just think the numbers behind Washington's run defense are a little bit fugazi. Like, I know that they're top 20 in America when it comes to stopping the run, but it's like when you played Michigan, who I think is going to be in a similar level of physicality than what Oregon brings, ran for $187 on you. I don't love that matchup. I don't love the signs around this whole thing for Washington. Also, injuries to some of your best skill players. Denzel Boston, we'll see where he's at. Jonah Coleman, you're hoping he's getting more and more healthy so you can lean on him more. But just like that, plus the way that Oregon's rolling right now, I would take the Georgia Tech spread of 13.5 and tack it onto this game and feel just fine doing that. Right now, it's at Oregon minus 6.5. I would take it all the way up to 2 touchdowns. I think they roll. I think they roll pretty heavily.
Yeah, we might have some line adjustments here, just looking at how bullish we are on some of these games. So that could be fun. Maybe
tease it up.
Yeah, tease it up a little bit. We'll see what happens. I agree, though. The Ducks, the way they're running the ball, man, I think it's one of the more impressive phases of someone's game we've seen, like in those top-ranked teams. Like, if you could just draft, like, so-and-so's passing game, so-and-so's pass rush. Like, Oregon's run game, man, with the backs they rotate in and out of there, man. They're going to control the game. I think they're going to control the whole game, and I think that the fact that they're doing all of this without their top 2 wide receivers is impressive. And when it comes to playoff time, I think if they're fully healthy, I think it's just going to only make them better. So I agree with that. Maybe the home field advantage for Washington can keep things close. I could see it maybe getting loud. I feel like Oregon hasn't played it in, well, I guess the Iowa game, rainy and with Kinnick. They've played in some environments.
Wide out.
Yeah. They're built for it, man. I think the Ducks are going to take care of business for sure. Another team I think is going to take care of business too, JD, is Texas A&M. 2.5 is, like, to me, in favor of the Aggies.
You know what I'm saying?
I think we're going to see a lot of this weekend. The big thing for me, love what Aaron Murray said about the biggest weakness of Texas is that offensive line, and the biggest strength of A&M defensively, least, is getting after the passer. Rather, I think that pass rush is going to get really scary. I think the fact that Arch Manning has played a ton better. Like, I want to give him credit for that. If you actually look at him and Marcel Reed's numbers, very similar now. He's kind of caught up in there. They're only 11 yards apart when it comes to passing yards, which is crazy. It's very, very much identical. So it has nothing to do with quarterback play for me. I think the ceiling and floor of both of these guys throughout the year honestly looks kind of similar. Like, we watched Arch obviously play not very good in that Ohio State game, especially the first half. Marcel's had a couple halves like that as well, where it hasn't just been dialed with him. I think Marcel's peak is higher. I think his weapons have done more to help him. Texas' offense has looked better the last couple weeks. I think it's pretty much schematic. Like, I don't think there's been a ton of players as far as their pass catchers and running backs that have played a ton better all of a sudden just because they're getting a little bit more of a better output. That offensive line, defensive line matchup, though, I think is going to be a key. And the other thing, too, man, is Mike Elko told us last week, hey, what was your halftime speech, South Carolina? How'd you get the boys motivated? He was like, nothing special. I just told them what they already know. I don't know what the speech or lack thereof of a speech is for your rival beating you last year and now you facing them. But I think whatever message he needs to get across for that, he's getting it across. And I think that A&M runs with this and covers that 2.5 with ease. I think that's another one we might Just a little bit. I could see them winning by a touchdown or two. Like, it's not ridiculous to say that at all. Aaron Murray, I was already on the fence, but Aaron just kind of pushed me over the ledge, and now I'm fully on the Aggies, just making it happen in a major way this weekend.
I like that. Maybe a little teaser parlay, courtesy of A1 Caden Smith. Maybe that becomes a reality, and BetMGM goes running for the hills. I have said many times this game makes me nervous. I feel weird about it. The spread makes me feel weird about it. But what you just said, the Mike Elko of it all, hearing him speak about how his team doesn't need to have any extra attention to go play Texas, and hearing Aaron Murray's logic behind the matchups, I'm starting to exhale a little bit on this one. Infamously, I suppose, I had a similar feeling around Georgia, Mississippi State. I kept saying all week, it's going to be weird. Hey, it's going to be weird. It's going to be a weird game. Georgia, I don't know where they're at. And then they rolled, and you were on the other side of that fence saying, no, the Dogs are going to roll. So we could see history repeat itself here again, where I'm like, I feel weird. And then you're like, no, A&M's going to roll. And then we're sitting here with just fat stacks in our pockets after the Cato teaser parlay hits, and everyone's rich. I think Ohio State is where I'm going to go with my next prediction here, Cato. I think they pop in the run game, man. I really do. I think that they have been conservative with how they've run the football for a reason. I've said many times, I think they have intentionally saved the legs of their running back room as well as the offensive line going into this game. 86th in America when it comes to rush attempts per game. Nobody on that roster has more than 20 carries in any game. I think that Ryan Day, while he understands that they're going to have to play like their brand of ball where Jeremiah Smith got to get his downfield. Whoever else is available for you in this game, you'd hope Carnell Tate's ready to go. Got to get his downfield. Max Clare, all those things. At the same time, I think he also understands the more violent team's going to win. Ohio State's thrown for over 300 yards in this game. When C.J. Stroud was the quarterback, didn't matter. They still got beat by Michigan because Michigan was the more physical team, ran the football better. The team that runs the ball better in this game the last 4 years has won. I think that's Ohio State in this spot. I think Bo Jackson is the name that Gus Johnson's belting out at some point in this game and gives us a cool nickname for him. Ohio State wins because they run the football, and Julian Sand doesn't turn it over.
Yeah, man, I that all sounds great. That's great analysis. Obviously, Ohio State should win. Obviously, they should do everything better. I don't think there's anything other than quarterback run that Ohio State doesn't do better than Michigan, right? Like this is exactly how it was last year. A little bit less extreme, but man, this is a stay away from me, man. Like I have Michigan. I had Michigan in the playoff to start the year, so selfishly, I want them to pull through here and win the game to make my prediction right, but everything on paper should tell you Ohio State, and that's just not been the case the last couple of years. So yeah. I do like how calculated it seems like Ohio State has been throughout the season, whether it's, like you mentioned, being very intentional with the running backs that touch the ball, being very intentional about ramping up Julian Sand throughout the year, very, very, very clinical maybe on defense is the word to use, very specific and tactical with the way they've been going about their business. And you'd imagine Matt Patricia putting so much on those guys' plates early in the year. His only things made things easier and made it to where you can really ramp it up from the neck up in this game. So, yeah, man, everything's pointing toward Ohio State getting it done and covering, but we'll see. This is one of those ones. I think it's a little overrated, the whole throw the records out the window for rivalries. I think some yes, some no. This one the last couple of years. If it didn't show you last year that the records don't matter, then you don't get it. It's not clocking you. So I agree with you, but I cautiously will keep my wallet close to me in this one and not put any money out there, any BetMGM dollars out there. That's for sure.
Would not bet it. Would not. I'm with you. Would not bet it.
Last one for me, JD. A little bit of a 2-for-1 special, if you will.
I love it.
So when you think rivalry week, we talk about some of these games, records out the window, best players showing up, who's going to fold, yada, yada, yada. I think this is a great week for irrational confidence. And I think there's 2 irrational confidence quarterbacks that I think everyone should keep their eyes on this week as underdogs. Tommy Castellanos in the swamp. Florida State, what do you have to play for? Last game of the season, trying to make a bowl. Tommy C, end the year how you started it, man.
Bookends.
Florida just got waxed. You're probably watching the film thinking, yeah, I can do all this, right? I'm Tommy C. I'm the same guy week 1. Last time I played an SEC team, you saw what happened. Do it again, Tommy C. I think Florida State covers that. I think they could win outright. And the other one, Diego Pavia, man.
Ooh.
Kind of opposite. You have something to play for. You're trying to keep your team's playoff hopes alive. Oh, you're going into Neyland, big-time game, high-powered offense. We saw what Tennessee did last week. It's funny. It's both ends of the coin, Tennessee and Florida, but from last week. But, yeah, Diego, cover that spread, 2.5. You're the playoff team. You're the higher-ranked team. I don't know if they both cover. I don't know if they both win, but I think at least one of them is going to. And I think one of these irrational confidence guys is going to show up, end the season on a high note, and make it happen, man. So I've got my eye on these two. It's not a full prediction, but these two guys have my attention, man. I think these are two guys that, given their opponents and given the giant chip on their shoulder, I think they can make it happen this week. So I'm excited to watch those two guys in a big game environment and get the job done. So I believe in them. I believe in their mobility. They have all of the makings of the kind of guy that becomes a rivalry week kind of all-star in a way. So put in my faith in those two guys, Tommy C. and Diego Pavia. Bring it home. Let's do it.
I love that, especially the Tommy C angle. Like, salvage the vibes in Tallahassee.
Yeah, please.
Mike Norvell's staying, contrary to whatever I think should or shouldn't happen. Like, you've had a season that's been full of ups and downs. You started with a bang. Let's finish with a bang. Let's drain the swamp before Tommy C and the boys. Now that Florida fans are come after me and saying, this guy's talking about wanting to go after Florida. Like, hang on, I'm not saying that. I'm saying this is a fun prediction. I'm here for it. And wouldn't that be just like Florida State this year, bro?
Poetic,
just
man.
Like Florida State.
Florida State season's just a Tommy C sandwich. The bread really good. Beginning and end of the season really good. Between questionable ingredients, but yeah, man, I took Florida against Tennessee on upset watch last week, and Florida. I thought they played hard for anyone named Billy. They let go of the rope though. Now and now Tommy C comes to town, and it's like, you know what, man, make it happen, Tommy. Why not? Why not let it fly?
Florida State, the Italian herbs and cheese of college football with the sandwich. I love that. I'm all the way here for that. I'm here for both of those, quite frankly. Diego Pavia also being in the college football playoff. Playoff Pavia. They're packing out wherever they're playing in that first round with 87 Pavias there. I'm here. I'm all the way here for that. All the way here for that. My last one here, Cato. I have sat with this for a little bit. I am fully ready to change the way that I watch Oklahoma football. I am no longer asking for the offense to wake up. I'm no longer asking for third down conversions. I'm no longer asking for John Mateer to go for, whatever, fill in whatever number you want to there when it comes to passing yardage. I'm just going to watch Oklahoma win an Oklahoma style of game against LSU. It'll probably be Oklahoma scoring right around 24 points. They'll hold LSU to like 7 or 10 points. It won't be that aesthetic. It won't be something that gets you all that fired up if you're outside the Norman bubble. But gosh dang it, you punch your ticket to the college football playoff, and we look at that box score, we watch that game, and we say, yeah, it's kind of who they are right now. I keep saying this on the show at different points throughout this season, but I want to say it again. Great quote by Phil Dunphy of Modern Family, one of TV's greatest dads, in my opinion, at least in the modern era, at least. The greatest things in life can happen to you if you just lower your expectations.
Yep.
Just lower your expectations, Oklahoma. Punch ticket to the playoff. Doesn't matter how it look on offense, and get ready to go get your playoff on wherever that first game's at.
Yeah, I think I do not condone some like far-fetched like bets that exist out there. There's like NBA like first basket score. It's like, all right, like just play the lottery at that point, right?
You're sick, I love that.
But if you had to pick, they have this bet all the time at MGM, probably everywhere. Exact score. I think you could thread the needle with Oklahoma. Like, Oklahoma's one of those teams where, like, after watching the last couple weeks, if they just stick to their same playbook, man, like, 17-6. Like, that just might be it. 23-10. Like, you can kind of just close your eyes and picture the Oklahoma score. So it would be kind of fun. Thanksgiving weekend, try to thread the needle on a far-fetched bet. I feel like it'd be fun to track, too. You know what I mean? Like, if Oklahoma keeps just doing their thing, like, they score, you're like, okay, like we're getting close, 7-0, up 10-0, up 13-3. Like it actually could have some suspense to it. Maybe BetMGM wants you to cash out because like, okay, this actually might happen here. Like, might have a winning ticket on our hands. This guy might cash this. But
they're in the control room, like, hang on, we got a live one.
Yeah, right. Wait, guys, this guy's about a field goal away from Oklahoma threading the needle here.
He's got 23-9 final score, and here we go in Norman. It's like, might happen that way.
They seem a little bit more predictable, but yeah, we'll see. Would it be great for them heading into the playoffs to just light it up and and throw around the yard and the offense looks like a well-oiled machine. Yeah, but like you mentioned before, they're the Komodo dragon of college football.
Here we go.
They're scary. Like, you don't want to play them, but not a ton to offensively to be excited about. That's not the exact analogy. That's not why a Komodo dragon is.
No, you nailed it. No, yeah. They're ugly, but hey, they're dangerous too.
They're ugly but dangerous, yes.
What it is, man.
And not known for their offensive acumen, the
It's
one
what
Komodo
it
dragon. They're a defensive reptile.
Defensive reptile, borderline dinosaur. Some might argue. Well, Kato, I want to get to just what we're thankful for here to finish out this Thanksgiving episode. But if you're thankful for college football, you want to be at a game this weekend to round out the season. Best way to do that is with Game Time, who's bringing you the hard count today. Okay, lock in with Game Time. Best way to buy tickets because it's safe, it's effective, it's fast, it's affordable. Make sure you get the lowest prices correlating to the best tickets. We say it a lot, but if you want to know the seat that you're going to have, or the view from your seat rather, before you buy the ticket, Game Time, the best way to get that done. You can view the seat or view your view from your seat using the app before you purchase it, and also can buy tickets at the last minute using the app. So again, download the Game Time app, create an account, use code HARDCOUNT for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code HARDCOUNT, HARDCOUNT for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Kato, it's a wonderful day. A day of gratitude and thanks. What are you thankful for before we let the folks go enjoy their own Thanksgiving meal, or maybe they're watching it post meal? What are you thankful for here, brother?
Man, I'm thankful for a lot. Obviously, the family, being able to see them for Thanksgiving will be awesome. Friends that I'll be able to see in Atlanta, that's all great. Trying to think of a college football angle that I'm thankful for. Man,
Sure.
I'm thankful YouTube TV and ESPN figured it out, man. That's what I'm most thankful for. You know what I mean? We only get so many weekends of college football, and the fact that a few of them were compromised by some money, it hurt my heart. It hurt going to the ESPN 4-box and not having any of the Fox games. It hurt going to the YouTube TV 4-box and not having any of the ESPN games. I'm looking at CW Network and TNT has college football. Like, the best is being able to blend it all together, go across the country, different conferences, make it all happen. That was a special moment for me. I'm getting a little choked up, emotional talking about it.
It was a good moment.
Single tear might come down the eye, but glad that they figured that out. Glad that we've made it happen, and that everyone can enjoy their rivalry weekend with their family for Thanksgiving the proper way, with a 4-box that allows them to watch all college football games from all networks. So shout out the people in the powers that be that figured that out.
That's a tremendous gratitude.
Thanks.
That is creme de la creme. I love that one. Right in line with you. Thankful for family, thankful for friends, thankful for our 1-year-old baby girl, thankful for this show, thankful for you, brother. I'm also extremely thankful that we get Black Friday college football, that they stack the slate intentionally the day after Thanksgiving. We got leftovers, we got good vibes. A lot of us got family in town, or we're traveling to family. This is a wonderful, wonderful tradition, and I'm glad that we have, like, not just your token game here or there to kind of clear out the slate for Saturday. It's like A&M Texas, Georgia Tech. Like, there's some real bangers on this Black Friday. I'll double down here. One more thing I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that USC and UCLA give us one of the best uniform matchups of the college football season every year, because they both wear the home unis. You got the powder blues for the Bruins. You got the cardinal and gold for USC. Happened, I want to say, like mid-2000s. I believe it was UCLA chooses to wear their home unis to the Coliseum, and they get a timeout taken from them for doing that. That was like the penalty or whatever. Pete Carroll right away calls a timeout, first play of the game, is like, we're even, let's, like, hey, essentially shot across the bow, like, we're good,
sick.
Like, let's go. Like,
That's
and
sick.
ever since they've worn I love that so much, and it's a good vibe, man.
Good
Very
lore
good vibe.
there. Good lore there. Good history. I learned something new today. I didn't know that's how that came about. So that's awesome.
Sneaky lore. Very, very sneaky.
Sneaky lore. That's some good stuff, man. I was going to say something, but I forgot. I'm blanking out. Oh, you bringing up the Black Friday games, man. Very thankful for that. Very cool that we have Black Friday games and Saturday games. Problem for me, though, man, is me and Mom are supposed to see Wicked 2.
Okay.
And now I'm looking at the college football slate. I'm like, when am I going to be able to go see this? Like, there's just so much good football. There's NFL ball Thanksgiving Day. It's more of a, I guess I got to find my least favorite window, I guess, out of Saturday and Friday and see where I fit. But we'll see. Maybe we can do a Thursday night.
Sure.
Thanksgiving night, see Wicked. Then we have the next 2 days to watch college football. But we'll see. Great otherwise, though. Love that they did the Black Friday thing. But I'm sure there's guys out there who have the responsibility to go do some Black Friday shopping, to see Wicked, to do some things.
Have to. Yeah, I mean,
might have to have the game kind of.
I was going to say
on
cup
standby.
holder, maybe cup holder op.
Yeah, I don't want to be disrespectful for sure to the one Ariana Grande and just the whole Wicked team over there, but it might have to happen. We'll see. We'll figure it out, and we'll recap on Monday for sure.
I said in relation to Wicked, not the Ariana Grande reference as a married man, just for full clarity there. Just making sure that's all above board, just so there's no weird stuff in the chat.
Just the fan.
You know what I'm saying?
Just
Cato,
the fan.
Great stuff as always, man. Thankful for you. Thankful for y'all making this show go. You have yourself a tremendous Thanksgiving. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. For Cato on the ones and twos, for myself, JD PicKell, have a happy Thanksgiving. We will see y'all.